welcome back. It is the last week of World of Tanks Asia here. My name is Susie Kim, this is Wolf Schroeder, and this is it. This is it, the playoffs.
It's
Wolf.
time. It's finally time to decide who's going to the actual grand finals. Which one of these teams have fought all through the round robins, made it to this top four? Which one of these teams are going to survive? We've got three teams battling out. Elong, of course, with that first place spot already seeded in. But, you know, we have Horsemen in here today as well. They actually got through because of Immortals DQ last week. We'll talk a little bit more about that later, but a pretty sick lineup of four teams we're going to see today.
Absolutely. And again, I can't believe we're here. These last 10 weeks have just flown by. And of course, we've had some hiccups here and there with just some teams not showing and, you know, having issues with connections and stuff like that. But you know what? We've made it. And in case this is the first time you're tuning in, we welcome you, and we want to let you know exactly how this entire tournament has been going on for this entire summer.
Yep.
So if you take a look here on the graphics that will come up in just a second. Here we go. So yeah, we started on June 1st. Here we are. It is now August 3rd. It is the last day. It is the playoffs. And here is how our tournament has been structured.
It's all been best of eights with tiebreakers potentially. We had a double round robin for these teams to get here. The format's been attack defense, 7-minute timer, 7v7. Tier 8, of course, the limit. Our map pool being Himmelsdorf Steppes, Ruinberg, Ghost Town Mines, and Lakeville. And each team that won got 3 points. Any team that won in the tiebreaker got 2. Losers of tiebreaker got 1, and anyone who lost, just straightforward, got 0 points. So that's kind of how we ended up here. That's been the point system.
Yeah, and you know, it's funny because this map pool, you know, when we first encountered all these maps, you definitely had clear favorites and, you know, the ones we really didn't like all that much. But then as the meta started changing and as we got to really see the personality of the teams, you know, we got to see these different maps. And here we are at the end of the season, and I'm excited. I really hope we still see Lakeville. That's probably my favorite one.
Yeah, Lakeville, a great map for sure. One of our maps we saw probably the least in this season.
Yeah.
Lakeville.
It's new. I mean, the teams really don't have I'm sure they didn't get to practice on this map as much as all the other ones. Yeah,
Ghost Town, a map that we didn't see that much this season either. We saw it a lot in the Korean side of things, but not so much on our APAC-ASIA side. So, which will be interesting going into the finals, actually. With Korean teams, actually, they might want to try to push for Ghost Town to be in that map pool because they're much more familiar with it. But yeah, a totally big group of teams, 8 of them. Only 4 made it. We've learned their personalities. You know, we've seen them actually grow and evolve as well as teams. It's actually really interesting. So let's introduce to you what these 8 teams were or are. I'm like talking past tense already as if it's over. It's not over. We have B Gaming, Karen Tigers, Elong, and Horsemen. Surprisingly, these are the 4 teams who have made it to the playoffs today. We're going to be able to watch them, well, minus Elong, who obviously was seeded in, and they're not. But these are the teams that are going to be fighting for a spot to join Elong in the grand finals. Sure. Now our bottom teams didn't quite make it. Immortals had the DQ last week, which really set them back. Run and TE, you know, 2 of our weaker teams, but TE definitely the strongest of the bottom. Like I feel like overall, and then the Coalition Singapore, which you know had their own unique style, very aggressive. But towards the end of things, we didn't see them play as much. They didn't actually end up showing up for most of their matches, so they ended up down there at the bottom. And Run surpassed them quite a bit as a result. Yeah, and I mean, in the one game that we saw Run versus Coalition, we saw that Run did. I mean, they did take it to game 9, but Run did win that one, and so that was basically that's our season in a nutshell, right? Yeah, basically. You know, we saw very few tiebreakers actually, and that was definitely the most memorable, I would say. That as well as B Gaming versus Karen Tiger at the very beginning. Yeah, that was kind of like we watched it and we went, man, those 2 teams, I think they're going to make it far, and then they did. And then we saw in their second match that B Gaming lost 0-5. Karen Tigers totally wiped them. But that rematch, the 3rd rematch, could actually happen today if B Gaming is able to take out Horsemen. Oh gosh, that's true. And so that's kind of scary, actually, knowing that Karen Tigers was so strong like that. Yeah. If they're going against B Gaming, I mean, hopefully B Gaming has prepared for Karen Tigers as well as Horsemen today. It's really tough because obviously it's important for Karen Tigers. We talked about this before. The higher places you get, even if you don't get first place, will determine your seeding going into the playoffs. So Karen Tiger gets to skip an entire match. So they can sit back at home and watch both of these teams and watch the winner and say, oh, okay, I watched what you were doing. Right. I saw what you're doing there. Let me adapt to your style and beat it. Whereas the other teams have to prepare for 2 different teams, assuming they're able to even win the first match, which is difficult in itself. Right, of course. Okay, well, you know what? We're going to go ahead and tell you about the rankings. Here we go. This is the last day. Like we said today at the playoffs,
EL Gaming with 36 points. They ended off the season pretty much with a perfect score, minus 2 DQs.
Yeah, 2 DQs.
Yeah,
actually.
minus 2 DQs. So, I mean, they would be at 39, right, basically?
Or 42, actually,
42?
had they shown for both, right?
Oh, right.
Yeah, if they had 3 points at both and they won all of their matches, they would be at 42. That was like the highest possible points you could get.
Yeah.
But, you know, they were just barely above Karen Tiger because of those DQs.
Right. Karen Tigers, I mean, so EL Gaming, we told you, they're totally seeded in. They're going to the finals. Now, today we're going to see Karen Tigers in the second match. They're at 35 points. Very, very strong team. And they're going to sit there and watch B Gaming and Horsemen, 3rd and 4th place, basically duke it out and see who gets that chance to make it, right?
Yeah. Of course, the Immortals, kind of the honorable mention here, nearly making it to top 4, but their DQ did not allow them.
No. And Horsemen got super lucky too, having EL having those connection issues. You know, EL having connection issues 2 weeks ago allowed Horsemen to win because of a DQ, got them those 3 points, pushed them to 23, and then Immortals on Thursday. You know, it was just a lot of unfortunate events that just kind of, you know.
And Horsemen now gets an insanely incredible opportunity, right?
Yes.
They could actually come to Korea. They could come to the grand finals. They have a big, big challenge in front of them. They have to beat B Gaming. Then, of course, they have to beat Karen Tiger, 2 incredible opponents from Japan, back to back. So it's Horsemen versus Japan today, basically, for them, right? So if they can beat both of these Japanese teams, they will be able to come to Korea. A difficult challenge, but no doubt because they were given this incredible opportunity. They've known about this for so long. They've had the entire weekend to prepare. I think they're going to show us some incredible games today. I think this first match could be really close.
I think so, too. And, again, honorable mentions for the Immortals. Team efficiency played their heart out this entire season and run in TCSG. I mean, you know, they are at the bottom of this list, but this is the Gold Series. This is the best of the best in Asia. And, you know, when you play against the best, sometimes it's really tough.
Yeah, the Immortals had a bit of a tougher time, especially, or rather not the Immortals, Team Efficiency had a tougher time in the early season, but in the second round, however, they really pulled it off. I personally feel like their skill-wise slightly above the Immortals, but they didn't get those points in the early time because they got better as the season went along.
Of course. I mean, as did most of the teams. We did get to see just a progression of them getting better, having more synergy as a team, and again, having those team flavors, if you will. Their characteristics really shine. And so, yeah, so here we go. Final 4, man.
Yeah, let's take a look at our matches for today, show you guys how it's going to be.
Yep. All right, so today's matchup, we have B Gaming versus Horsemen, third place versus 4th place, like we said. And whoever wins that will go ahead and play Karen Tigers right away in match 2. So they'll have like 10 minutes to just like rest, get ready, and then come back and play Karen Tigers.
Yeah, so for our map list for the first game, we're going to have Steps and Himmelsdorf, and then our second matchup, if B Gaming is able to win, it's going to be Mines and Himmelsdorf, and if Horsemen wins, it's going to be Himmelsdorf and Lakeville. So that's a map list. Ghost Town is a tiebreaker map for all 3 matches today.
Yep, so here we go. I mean, whew. I can't believe it. I keep saying that, and I'm sorry I keep saying that, but I'm really surprised at how fast these last 10 weeks went.
Yeah, well, it's kind of crazy as well. We're going to have all the playoffs in one day, like both of them back to back. The only part of this tournament so far that has been single elimination, this is do or die. You lose, you're out, it's over. The first time we've ever seen that.
Points don't even matter at this point. We're like, on whose line is it anyway now? Points don't matter. You just want to win.
You win or you lose. You advance or you're done for the season. Yeah. We'll see you next time.
Yeah, that's pretty nuts. All right, so let's talk about this first matchup then. B Gaming versus Horsemen, right? B Gaming have been showing super just steady play.
Yeah, steady play. I would say Horsemen more known to travel, to rotate better. That's kind of their style. They like to move as a pack oftentimes, especially on maps like Steps, which is going to be our starting map.
Yep, and it looks like the game is ready now, so we're going to go ahead onto Steps, set number 1. All right, guys, this is it. B Gaming versus Horsemen. We are at set number 1, and Horsemen are going to be on the defense first.
B Gaming is bringing a whole slew of T-54s, 6 T-54s in the 12-ton. Whereas we have 2 T-32s for Horsemen, more of a defensive choice. We've seen a lot on this map. Then RU-251, that's going to give them a lot more scouting ability. It's going to be able to move around the map quickly. And Spencer, as expected, is running on that 12-ton. And they're going to fill things out with the T-54s, including Faluso, which is interesting. Now, they're going to do the push strat.
The pushing strat. We see the RU-251 And, I mean, we should have expected that from the beginning.
Yeah.
Horsemen, look at this conga line. They're going to try to get None up there onto the hill. But you know what? I think B Gaming has figured this out. Spencer's going to be able to see that B Gaming, everyone's coming towards them. However, RU251 does make it up there. The rest of the team can go ahead and scatter now and make sure that they don't get blown up all at once.
Now, really important to note that two T-32s are positioned perfectly to actually block those T-54s from taking damage, so that worked out really well for them. Made it difficult for B Gaming to approach. Spencer was able to escape behind this Wargaming sign as well.
And
He's
take some shots at Taki.
Serious damage on Taki. Wow.
All right.
Taki's getting very low, in fact.
You know, but B Gaming definitely knew that this was going to be a tactic. You could see the way that they're positioning themselves. They're just going to try to surround Horsemen right now because they can't go too far. They know how fast these tanks move. They know how much ground they can cover. And so here we go. I mean, the entire fight just happening right around base capture number 2.
Now this is going to end up being basically a trade. Taki will go down here as he is surrounded. Let's see how much damage he can get done. He does fall here to Flying Unicorn, but he was able to take out the tier 6 12 tons. So it's 1-for-1, but it's actually a better trade for Horsemen overall. Well, let's see what RU251 up here, what he can actually get done on top of that hill. That's going to be None up there.
No, it is None up there. I mean, just watching the 12-ton, Lolotes has his eyes on this 251. You know, he knows it's up there. He knows it's a big threat and wants to get rid of it. And might as well, if it's a tier 6, you know, if he can just get rid of that threat that's hiding up on the high ground, that'd be great. That would be a win for B Gaming on that front.
Now, rotating back to base capture point 1, I think is a great choice. They're just going to put 2 tanks there, so they're not going to leave themselves too vulnerable. In fact, actually only putting the 12-ton there for now, but they might just slowly rotate, push back into there. That's going to be a good strategy here. We saw that on this map, oftentimes the defender ends up winning if the attacking team gets indecisive in trying to deal with that hill tank, as well as the rest of the T-32s that are blocking it. If you wait too long, it's hard to rotate, and then you just run out of time. But they're already starting to work on that base capture, even at 4.5 minutes here.
Do you think that they're just moving out because they're not sure if the RU251 can actually hit them that far ahead, that far away?
It's definitely a possibility because the RU251 is not the best accuracy at long range, but it's definitely good for protecting the tanks that are close nearby trying to attack this. The T-32s here are definitely the ones that are going to come and try to deny this. Lolita takes some damage, in fact, from that tank on the hill, from None there, so that's a good shot there, and that's going to delay this base capture. Lolita cannot take much damage, of course, it's on a 12-ton.
Oh,
avoids that shot.
None is just really aiming. He's gunning for Lolote. Lolote is going to have to try to position himself in a place where the 251 won't be able to hit him. Meanwhile, I mean, it looks like the T-32s are doing a great job. They're just utilizing that terrain to make sure that they can stop this base capture.
Yeah. 3 minutes and 30 seconds to go. Lolita dodges another shot from None here. None not able to link it up. Only once was he able to hit.
Yeah, you can see how far away he is. And at this point, I mean, I'm sure he's aiming, but the accuracy can't be as great from that distance.
Now, Gorilla and Just Rex, I feel, could actually push a little bit more aggressively here. There's not that much support. As you can see, the T-54s have actually moved down south, and they might actually come for a flank attack. So
I think that's exactly what they're going to do. Lolote is trying to have everyone focus on him in that base capture right now. And on the mini-map, you guys can see that the T-54s, the lightweights, are going to come around and see if they could just pick off members from behind. Now,
None's support fire from that hill is going to be really important here, because obviously he wants to be able to do that damage for free up there, otherwise he's not really in the fight.
Oh,
and here they come.
Here they come. They're going to go around. If they go through this base capture, though, they're going to know that they're there.
Yeah, and actually this is a great time because they're actually starting to get a little bit scared about Lolita. They're actually rushing him down, and this gives a great opportunity to come from behind. They don't know until just now. Flying Unicorn taking some serious damage.
Takes a lot of damage. The 251 really wants to see if he can chip away from up top, but he's not really doing a great job at this moment. You can see he's taking 24 shots and only hit one of them. Yeah,
that was the one shot we saw on Lolita earlier.
Yep, and now look at that. Horsemen are going to be surrounded. There are 4 T-54s. The reason you pick T-54s is because they run so fast. They're like, they do so much damage for the speed that you get out of them. And here we go. Horsemen are going to be surrounded at this point and cornered. Meat Mania does go down.
Yeah. Oh, 7mm gets that kill. That's so important. Now Peluso tries to finish him off here. We see Tamati goes down. Can Peluso get this kill? It's so super important.
Oh,
Super Hiroshi is solo.
And Super Hiroshi goes down as well. Bonsai attacks the last one left. That flank did not work as planned. for B Gaming, and Horsemen, so many tanks left. And this one guy, I mean, Bonsai, where are you going, dude? You can't even run at the clock.
Exactly, he's on attack.
You're on the attack side.
It was a really well-coordinated defense there by Horsemen. They waited till the last second to push Lolita off, and then once they did, they knew that they could actually rotate back easily. And I feel like instead of attacking front on like B Gaming did there, maybe the better plan would have just been to simply try to capture the base and force them to rotate back, because they had 4 tanks there, and the Lotte was still on the capture point, so they have both capture points going. Either way, the plan didn't work out for them. Bonsai Attack is going to have a slow and painful death here as they hunt him down. 56 seconds to go for him to kill 5 tanks on his own.
Maybe he can do it, maybe he can't. Archon is going to come around those, try to ram him to death. Almost gets it. He just needs one more shot, and there it is. Bonsai Attack goes down. Horsemen take game number 1.
Very solid play there by Horsemen, taking a lead. And, you know, I was talking to you about this before the show. I feel like Horsemen could absolutely take this today. I feel like they're going to really take this opportunity very, very seriously. And they've prepared clearly very well for this map.
Yeah, they really, really have. And I feel, I mean, B Gaming knew the tactic they were doing. They went straight for that mountain because they knew that the small tank, you know.
With T-54s, mind you, so they got there the fastest way possible they could have, unless they want to run like RU-251s, which would be a terrible idea. But like the idealist, you know, most ideal, fastest way to get there was the way they took, and they still couldn't actually punish it because Horsemen has practiced the strategy so well. They knew exactly how to get the fastest tank up there because it's got the fastest tread, so it's going to push its way up the mountain very quickly, and then fan out and have the defense with the T-32s really well positioned, and B Gaming could not break through, and then the Horsemen got to a good spot. The missed shots on Lolita were, you know, a bit worrisome at first, but eventually, when the rotation happened, they knew just how to deal with that as well.
You know, I was worried. Okay, so the 251 up on the hill, right? I understand the tactic, but he wasn't really able to make much of a difference. I mean, minus that one shot onto Lolita, which reset the clock. But do you think it's a tactic that they should go for again?
I think so, because it's one of the fastest, safest ways to get a tank up there. It's much faster than trying to push the medium tanks up there. You're never going to get a T-32.
But why put a tank up there in the first place? Like,
part of the reason, and we didn't get to see it come into this game, I was thinking about it a lot, is because that tank will be hard to eliminate at the end. Because the clock was getting down to even like 130, 120, then we were sub 1 minute at the end of that. If that fight had gone poorly, they could have sent tanks away and still had a tank up there. So eliminating that tank at the farthest point up there, yeah, it's possible, it's doable, but if it's hiding behind a rock and just kind of going in and out of bounds there on the edge, it's hard to eliminate that tank. Then they have to go back to the capture points and chase down the rest of the tanks. I think part of it comes down to just that tank can escape. We've seen this before on mines a lot. Sometimes they'll just put one T-54, and that tank ends up just running away at the end of the match because it's like, okay, now we've got to use this one tank for ability just in case this goes to a timeout sort of situation. So I think that's part of it.
So I guess, yeah, as defense, it's good to have that one. It's just like an escape route, basically.
And it also does give a lot of support fire. Even if it misses, the zoning aspects that it actually provides are quite strong.
Fair enough.
It's hard to hit like a 12-ton like Lolita on the base capture point, but if they wanted to do something different and put multiple tanks in there, some of the larger tanks perhaps, then of course it's going to have the potential to hit those as well. And this is blind pick, these tanks, so they didn't know if maybe they were going to try to cap it with larger tanks, or they're going to run their own T-32, seen that as well on the attack. So a stylistic choice. I like it. I hope they do it again. All
right. Well, we'll see if B Gaming expects it again from Horsemen. Horsemen did take that first game. So we're going to go now into game number 2. Set number 2 has begun. B Gaming versus Horsemen in the fight to become the team to play against Karen Tigers. Here are the tanks.
No swaps, no switches here for either team. B Gaming is going to rush that point again, and Horsemen, no doubt, are going to push the RU-251. They have the strategy down to a T. And what's really incredible about it to me is just how well they actually position their two T-32s to protect those T-54s in that vulnerable moment. They know exactly where they need to be to block those initial shots, and then they can escape and get into a good position. Now, here we see they're pushing up again.
This is really fun because obviously Horsemen know also how long it's going to take B Gaming to get to them, right? And here's Spencer. Oh, wow, B Gaming from the get-go want to get rid of this scouting tank. They know that it's an autoloader. They know it's going to be able to do damage and protect the other tanks. And, yeah. Wow, Horsemen very quickly getting that RU-251 up there, and now they're going to scatter and do this strategy again.
This time the T-32 is not protecting very well, and actually none slips down the hill.
None does come back down the hill.
Yeah, this is interesting. It looks like they might actually possibly posturing for a fight here straight up. This would be a bit interesting. because it no longer gives them that support to push RU-254.
No, B Gaming is definitely leaving the vicinity now.
Yeah.
They don't want to take up the straight-up fight at this moment because they're not ready. You
Yeah.
know, it's obviously Horsemen's tactic. They're going to push them up there, make B Gaming come rush at them, and then bring None back down. I mean, they're not ready for this.
Yeah, I don't think they are, but I think this sacrifices a lot for Horsemen to actually have that tank down here on the low ground, because even though it's fast, it's not going to be the biggest out-positioner. The only reason why they have that is actually to put it up on top of the hill, not for really anything else, not for its scouting abilities. Well, let's see how they play this now, because they do have one extra tank to work with that they didn't have last game to help zone this out in a more direct way, you know, more up-front and forward approach.
All right, already Lolita is trying that tactic again. He is in the base capture. Timer is down to 75 seconds. Bonsai attack, he's going to go straight up, all the way up north and see if he could take out, you know, tanks from there. Look at his positioning. This line indicates basically the end of the map.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the out-of-bounds line, so he's right on the edge there. Ooh, a nice attempt there, actually, but Gorilla does avoid damage. Same with Just Rex. If you can hit him from the side, hit him in the treads, he'll do a ton of damage. It's exactly what Bonsai Attack is looking for, but good wiggling here, good positioning. They're not taking any of it.
No, and both teams right now basically at a standstill. They're going to go ahead and good shot. Gorilla takes a good shot on Lolote. I was going to say that base capture was getting down pretty low. But yeah, everyone is playing it very cautiously. You can see that no one's really trying to leave their positions right now.
Now, Bonsai Attack has taken up the position we've seen actually even IS-3s go to in the past on this map to try to hit those.
Lotte does go down, so now they are down a tank and the man in the capture.
You know, we've seen teams like, you know, like B Gaming is doing here, use a tank like Bonsai Attack to actually try to hit these T-32s from the side. It hasn't been historically very effective, as ends up being the case in this game, as B Gaming now takes a hit, like you said, losing Lolote, losing that Tier 6 tank. And Bonsai Attack now, again, trying to find any opportunity it can to hit these two T-32s, but their coverage is insane. Hitting Super Hiroshi now twice. Perfect focusing there.
Okay, these T-32s here really need to... I mean, they did a great job. So far, eliminating Lolote in the base capture, that was great. But now they need to utilize this and not let the big clunkiness of being a T-32 really hinder them.
Ooh, this is a really crazy move here by Bonsai Attack. I like this a lot because if he can actually take out Spencer and escape, that would be huge. I don't know if he's going to be able to do so. He gets Spencer, but he's going to go down for it. And this is the same trade they did last game. A T-54 for a 12-ton on this map is not worth it. It's a Tier 8 for a Tier 6. And already now Super Hiroshi getting low again, taking another shot here. I think this, if he had escaped, it would have been a beautiful move, but he did not. So.
Oh, Taki does go and try to get rid of None. They know that None is going to be a threat since he can run away very quickly and hide.
Yeah.
Taki, they're just kind of playing chase around this little rock here. Wow, look how well they maneuver though.
Yeah.
These players know exactly how their tanks move and very good control. They're just gonna.
Now, during this time, Taki is somewhat removed from play.
Yeah.
Because basically None is doing a perfect little dance with him there.
Oh, nice. 7mm goes down, and Taki eventually goes down.
This should never happen. This should never happen. RU-251 shouldn't lose. It should not be able to beat a T-54 like that, especially when he was in a better position to start with. And now B Gaming is starting to fall apart. Horseman is going to take game 2 here. It looks like as the rest of these tanks barely alive. There goes Super Hiroshi.
There goes Tamati, and there goes Meat Mania. We didn't get to see the other two die, but...
Horseman is just playing a phenomenal defensive game here. Let's see if they can keep it up on the attack. That was really, really well prepared, really well set up here.
There was no hesitation this time around.
Yeah.
You know, and you know what else I noticed is that they didn't do the pack mentality thing this time around either.
Yeah.
I feel like they're now finally growing out of this and like just having a larger... What's the word I'm looking
for?
Oh yeah, larger repertoire of different strategies that they can use, and it's really showing. You can tell that they've been practicing over the weekend for sure.
Yeah, and now I wonder though, because Horsemen's style is to play on these maps like steps and to roam together. Their rotations from capture point 1 to capture point 2, from the north back down to the east, if you will, if you're like a more northeast, southwest type person.
Right.
Those rotations on the attack, Horsemen has been historically really good at. That's where they kind of got their sort of reputation, as we were commentating, saying like they like to move as a pack, like a group of horses all together. And I expect them to do well on the attack. Their defense was incredible. But it's much easier to prepare for when you know you're going to be preparing for like one side first, or you think this side is going to be the most important, because most teams will prepare more for either defense or attack, because to win both is quite difficult. So I think they prepared really well for defense, but they're naturally good at attack. This could go really well for them. If B Gaming starts to fall behind here, it's going to be very difficult for them to catch up.
I think so too.
Momentum-wise, I mean, those were some pretty clean games that Horsemen just won.
Yeah, and like you said earlier, before the broadcast, we were talking about how I feel like Horsemen, I mean, they lucked out. The Horsemen...
Insanely lucky.
Yeah, Horsemen, just due to a series of events, Elong not having connection, you know, and then Immortals dropping out last week, they made it here. And to be, you know, to take advantage of this opportunity like that, this is what they need to do.
And I look at Horsemen, I've seen their interviews, you know, and some of the things they say, they're like, well, we're not really a professional team. We've got a lot of our people are doing like real life stuff as well. We're kind of more like a clan, like a group of friends who plays together. We want to compete, but, you know, we don't have big sponsors. We just want to get results first and then see what happens. But we are trying hard. You know, I see them to have this, like, this is the biggest opportunity, the biggest stage they've ever been to. This is their biggest opportunity, their biggest chance, and they are trying to seize it right now. 2-0 lead before the switch here. And,
you know, they used to be Yowie Flash Wolves, and then they decided they're not a professional team, so, you know, they kind of broke apart from that. I mean, that's why we sometimes see none with the Yowie tags, you know, and Gorilla as well. But again, just a group of guys who decide to get together and play some tanks, and they are playing some really good tanks.
Yeah.
And so as we go into game number 3, we're going to switch sides now. Again, Horsemen on the attack. We're going to see how they move, see if they move as a pack once more or not. Maybe they have a new strategy on hand that we don't know about, but we'll have to wait and see. So let's get into game number 3. Set number 3, guys. B Gaming is now on the defense, and Horsemen are up 2 games.
Now, the tanks have been swapped here. They've been essentially mirrored with 2 exceptions for B Gaming. Instead of bringing 2 T-32s, they're bringing 4 T-54s. So they take 1 T-32 out for a little bit more mobility, and they're running the T-21, actually, which is better. In some ways, as a Tier 6, it's great for, it's actually great for pushing as well because of its size, but they're actually not going to be pushing up that mountain. So
right. It's smaller, right? It's shorter. It's good for hiding in these little bushes and stuff like that. It's basically the T-37, but like smaller. Yeah. I guess that's the best way to explain it.
Yep. It looks like Horseman is going to take the fight to them, expecting them to do that push strategy based off of tanks, and it's not actually the case. Now, Faluso takes some massive damage.
Faluso does. He went way too far ahead, and they're realizing now they are not doing that push, and it is just a massive all-out firefight here. We can see that Gorilla has just taken some damage, and yeah, they're just going wiggling. Everyone's wiggling everywhere, but shooting at everyone. So Gorilla already goes down. Yeah,
this is a terrible position for Horsemen, and retreat is not an option on this terrain. If they tried to run away, they would just get gunned down massively.
Wow, Faluso is down now, and it looks like Rex is going to be down as well. He's going to get rammed into pretty soon. Or one more shot. Yep, Super Orochi goes ahead, takes him down. Horsemen, wow, they did not expect that at all.
I think this is a clever trick by B Gaming. It clearly worked. They showed the 251 again and the T21 as well, which is like screaming, we're pushing up the hill, and they fell for it big time, and they set a trap, and now Horseman just gets totally owned. It's going to be a 5v2 here now, make that 5v1.
Oh my goodness, that round was...
It was a slaughter.
Wow.
Goodbye, Spencer.
Bye, Spencer. You're not going to outrun an RU251. Wow. Yeah, B Gaming really caught them by surprise. Very smart. Very, very smart.
Now the scary thing is, does B Gaming actually do the push strategy this time and actually bring the same tanks, throw the Horsemen off, because Horsemen might be a little bit more timid at approaching, which will allow them a safer transition to get that RU-251 on top of the hill. Definitely something they could do. They're already getting these mind games in from the defensive side, so I like that play a lot. I think Horsemen totally fell for it. I would have too. I would have been like, oh, okay, they think this is the best way. This is kind of the meta right now. We'll push the tank up the hill and then set up the T-32s. They only have 1 T-32. Oh, we'll crush them even easier.
Yeah.
And they wanted to go in there and do that, but it just was a trap. They had all those tanks lying in wait. Faluso especially got way too ahead of himself.
Yeah.
And his positioning was bad because he turned to the side where his treads on the side of his tank were exposed, so he was going to take more damage. From just one shot, he took like 700 plus damage. So that really turned the tide. And then they couldn't retreat, like I said, because the terrain is so open on this map.
Right. There's nowhere to hide, even if they wanted to run away. They definitely were not. I think Horsemen were expecting, because they saw the RU-251, they were expecting, okay, B Gaming are also going to push him up the hill. Just decided to go for it. Faluso got way too close. Yeah. Way too close. Very smart by B Gaming.
So this gives B Gaming kind of a mental edge here going into this next game. Should they do the same strategy again? Horseman probably isn't going to come crashing in as easily, so that gives them some advantage there. Or if they do the same sort of defensive strategy, same sort of trap, does Horsemen handle it well? Do they fall for this again? They've got this sort of mental edge, and I think that's really good. It's great to take a win like that. It was risky, because had Horsemen just played a little bit safer, they could have easily taken a much better defensive position around the top capture point and started working on that. So.
Okay, well, I mean, it looks like, from what I see, the tanks are going to stay exactly the same. And so we don't know what strategy we're going to use with these tanks anymore, but we're going to go into game number 4. Set number 4, B Gaming versus Horsemen. B Gaming took a game, so up 1, Horsemen with 2. And like we said, the tank list is exactly the same as it was before.
Yep, let's see what's B Gaming going to do.
What's Horsemen going to do?
Okay, B Gaming is going to, again, move out, fan out. No, actually,
they are going to push up now.
Okay.
Yep, they are going to try to bring.
They did a little bit of sweep first just to make sure. Okay,
and that's smart. The T-21 is just going to go out and obviously try to scout and make sure he can let his teammates know if Horsemen are coming. Horsemen, however, on the mini-map, you can see they are actually going all the way to the other side of the map.
See, this would be a perfect response if it was the trap again. But now this is going to be B Gaming, as they can put their T-32 down there and take that RU-251 fire on this first capture point. They're in a good defensive position, just like we saw in Horsemen before. So, you know, that mental edge, again, really coming into play here. Now, let's see what Horsemen decides to do, how aggressively they move towards that first capture point. Obviously, they're starting to realize now what is happening. They don't have any vision yet, but I think they've kind of figured it out. I think they know,
because B Gaming, nobody has come towards them yet. They haven't. Nobody's sixth sense is up. Oh well, Lalote's is now, but Neat Mania all the way on top. Lalote, whoo, you got way too close, buddy. But at least now he knows that all the Horsemen are on the west side of the map, and they're going to all head towards base capture number 1. Obviously, if they know that there is an RU-251 up there, it's easier to take base capture number 1 than it is to be 2.
Yeah. Oh, you're absolutely right. Now, I'm trying to figure out, okay, they're actually sending, so Horsemen is sending 2 tanks to the north to actually try to hit this T-32, and that actually makes it twice as scary. It's Faluso as well, who's a great shot, oftentimes not the best in a melee type fight, but this kind of position, if he gets some good shots on 7mm, that would be excellent.
Okay, yeah, so they're just going to take shots from afar, hiding behind the rocks, and again, trying to utilize the terrain to their advantage.
Spencer eating up that base capture clock as well, in a fairly safe position. Ooh, that was a terrible shot for Neat Mania. It wasn't even close.
I'm like, where's he shooting?
He might have been actually just expecting that he was hiding somewhere else, one of those T-54s.
Yeah, Spencer's doing a really good job, just kind of hanging out.
Look at that, again, another shot missed here. Very close by, but just not close enough. 7mm is really the one who needs to actually get the shots off here, but he doesn't want to move too far forward because Faluso and Nunn are actually giving that cover fire, which he knows. All right, so not a great position for Horsemen, but that base capture constantly threatening. I think they're going to rotate in the next minute or so because all their tanks are down to the south, all their T-54s. Yes,
and actually it looks like they want to probably get this base down pretty low with this 1 tank, and if you look on the mini-map, there's a bunch of T-54s who are ready to jump in there with him. I think they might go ahead and try that tactic where they capture it really quickly, but now that, you know, the base capture has become reset again.
I think you're exactly right. I think that actually was definitely a plan they were considering. I think you're right on the money with that. Unfortunately, though, like you said, Spencer did take that damage. The base capture reset. He's actually
and now he's going to have to move out. Look how low he is. With 74 HP left, it's not worth having him get killed in that base capture. And Horsemen are going to have to think of something else. I think Faluso and Nunn should now come around and try to take out 7mm. And I think that's what they're going to do, possibly.
Well, if they could take out Lolita, it would be great. Spencer, you know, Spencer, even though he is very low, he's a 12-ton, so if he can actually stay at the back, he can do some extra damage. Another team with a massive advantage here, but which of course gives the defender the advantage on this map, in this case being B Gaming.
All right, well, I mean, 3 minutes and 17 seconds left on the game clock, and ooh, Spencer does go down.
This is problematic.
But yeah, everyone's holding their position. Nobody wants to do anything brash just yet.
Feluso moving back to join up the rest of his teammates. None slowly moving his way that way as well. 7 million looking for them, actually looking the wrong way, expecting them to maybe sweep around and try to get Lita. It's not happening.
Okay.
The Horsemen need to actually make a decisive move here. We're now sub 3 minutes, and there's not a whole lot of time working-wise to go on here at this point.
Yeah, the tanks who are up north look like they're going to try to head back down again. So, again, I think that they're going to go with the original thought, where they just stick in a bunch of tanks into the fake capture, and hopefully the one that matters doesn't get hit, basically.
They're trying to draw out the T-32 again. This is insanely risky, but it is a decisive move, which is what they're needing. None and Feluso are trying to get the kill. The base capture here is, again, just an afterthought.
Oh, Feluso does take a hit, though, from 7mm. Neat Mania, again, from the high ground, trying to give some cover fire, at least provide some sort of reinforcement.
Yeah. Well, you know, base capture's getting down to 25. They're going to have to start sending more tanks nearby. They are starting to move that way, but again, None and Feluso for the defense, for that cover fire.
Yeah.
And I see Flying Unicorn in a great position as well if they actually try to come up and get much closer.
I mean, I think at this
damage.
point, they need to, if they send in one more tank into the base capture, they should be able to do it very, very quickly.
Okay, here we go. Here comes Lolita. He's going to try to take that shot, but I see Flying Unicorn here to block. 6 seconds left, and they're actually going to block with Icy Flying Unicorn.
Wow, and they bring in that third tank. That's perfect. Third tank.
Oh, they hit Gorilla.
And Gorilla gets hit. They're going to have to try to finish off everyone. Lolote does go down 10 seconds, 33 seconds. Oh gosh, I can't even.
Bonsai attacks coming in, but Feluso and None are actually coming for that cover fire again. Gorilla also getting low, but they're actually going to start to win this fight over here on the other side of things. Oh, it's actually so close.
This is really, really close. And okay, Feluso is going to try to take out Bonsai attack. Hits him on the side, but also goes down himself.
Gorilla rotating back. Oh, that was so close, that shot right there.
Oh, Bonsai attack is another one to fall. Super Hiroshi knows he needs to get in there and keep shooting at these tanks. The tanks are all going to leave the base capture now. They do want to take this fight. Super Hiroshi surrounded by 3 tanks. He goes down. Taki is the next man on the list right now.
And Neat Mania is still... you know, he's still up on that hill.
Yeah, he is.
And this is that what I was talking about before, is if this comes down to one of those timeouts, killing Neat Mania is going to be nearly impossible for Horsemen to do. They're not even able to close the distance, and they will not be able to take this win.
And Archon is the last tank standing with 47 HP. He's going to try to run away, but it doesn't even matter. Whether he dies or the time runs out, the game does go to B gaming.
Yeah. That's part of the strength of keeping the RU-251 up on that hill, like I was saying, because if it comes down to elimination race, they're trying to push that tension of, okay, are they going to come to the capture point? We will beat them when they come. But they just didn't have enough time to do it.
Oh gosh, Taki misses, but it's okay.
Archon cannot eliminate 3 tanks in 10 seconds.
No, he can't. And 7mm is just going to finish up the job. B Gaming does take that game, and now they are tied 2-2. Like you said, I think the defensive side on this map definitely has a bit of an advantage.
It's if you can get that tank up there easily, like you get a huge lead. And that's why the mind games in Game 1 of that defensive side for B-Gaming in Game 3 overall was so important, because they got in the head of Horsemen. Then Horsemen had to make a tough choice. Do we actually go with the original plan and go in and try to deny that 251, or are they going to trap us again and we lose that game? So then they got a huge lead because they had that defensive setup, even with just 1 T-32. And what we saw there at the end was basically Horsemen were trying to force those tanks out. That's why they had 2 T-54s over on those rocks, and they were going to give the support fire. So either they win by base capture, or all the tanks freak out and panic and rush out and they take the fight. That happened, but they still weren't able to get the shots they needed to win the fight.
Yes. If they had cleaned up a little bit better before Archon jumped into the base capture, I think they may have had a bit better of a chance to hurry up and capture that. But
the base capture was at 0. It just needed a few more seconds, like a few more milliseconds, I should say.
That always happens too. And you know what? These players obviously know that.
Yeah, it's because technically the base capture is 100 seconds, and that 0 is the last extra second. That 0 has to be there for 1 full second, and then you win.
Okay.
And it's like, it was like halfway through the 0 second, and they got denied. So.
All right, well, the next map that we are on is going to be Himmelsdorf, and we're going to go ahead and introduce that to you in case you're now tuning in. Apparently, I butcher this word. I've been told by German friends that I say it in a very quote-unquote cute way, but I think he's just being nice.
Well, I mean, I think it's fine, Susie, don't worry. All right, that capture point we saw there, not the open one. No one's ever going there. But the closed one, right on the other side of that castle, is going to be the highest point of contention. The attacking team can attack either of those ways, those red arrows we just saw. Going up by castle or going through the inner side of the city next to the castle to take this point here is mostly what we see. We have seen some Asian teams, Elong in particular, able to take that depot point, the base capture point on the west side.
Right, number 1 over there, as you can see on your map.
Yeah.
And, but I mean, it's very rare that we do see that. It's so open that, you know, I can't, unless you're really, really good with your tanks and the positioning, it's probably going to be difficult. So yeah, as you guys can see here, the big courtyard in the middle, usually we'll see a tier 6 run to the middle and kind of get a positioning to be able to get a feel for everyone, the sixth sense around everywhere, right?
Yeah, and the current meta on this map is all about base capture point 2, the northern base capture point, the corner capture point. There's always one IS-3 there to deny the other IS-3s.
Right.
There's always a tier 6 and an IS-3 in there. Usually can't fit 3 tanks in there on the attack, but 2 you can get in there. Then you try to force them to get into an awkward position, which you outposition them, sometimes with a tank destroyer to give support fire. But I think that meta is slowly starting to die as we've seen it fail quite a lot. But that corner capture point is so important, and you always have to have one IS-3 there to defend it. And if he gets good shots, which is incredibly difficult to do, then you can push that back and you can actually deny it and time out the team or take a win. But most of the time we see the attacking team win. In APAC, Asia Gold, we see the attacking team win most of the time. I think it's like probably, I'd say 65% of the time at this point.
All right. Well, it looks like B Gaming is going to be changing out some players. Neat Mania is going to get out as Nipa is coming in. And we see teams do this a lot, you know, now that we're going from a wide open terrain to a much more condensed city terrain. You know, some people are better at playing in cities than they are in countrysides.
Oh, so it just, you know, better showcases that these teams have prepared really, really well for a versatility of maps. Some players preparing for city maps, some preparing for open maps. Really cool to see.
All right. Well, you know what? We're probably going to see, like you said, some IS-3s. We'll probably see AMX 5100s. And, but how many of each? We'll have to find out. So here we go into game number 5. All right, guys, set number 5. The score is tied 2-2. I am tongue-tied today. I'm so excited. I can't believe these two teams are fighting it out to get to the finals here.
They're tied so far, Susie.
I know.
So both teams are running the 4 IS-3 comp. There's nothing out of the ordinary here. We're not seeing any tank destroyer, which I'm happy to see because I feel like it's a bit of a weak choice most of the time.
Yeah.
The difference in these lineups, of course, comes down to the tier 6, which is going to be the tier 37 versus the 12-ton. Spencer on the 12-ton, a great 12-ton player. We've seen him do it already on steps. And I think...
and you guys can see here that the 12-ton autoloader does a little bit more damage. However, the T-37, just a bit faster. It's able to move around a little bit better, and that's probably the main difference between the two.
You know what? They're actually pushing with their IS-3s with the 5100s to the south. They're actually going to go for the railroad tracks on attack. This is unheard of. This is unseen. This is so rare. They could rotate, but yeah, I mean they could rotate, but this is another meta move. This is a move where it's like, oh, they are never going to expect this. Let's see if we can catch them off guard.
Wow, Spencer takes a lot of damage, but
Faluso?
so does.
Oh, he got it! He actually made that shot. Almost no one's ever made that shot before. We've seen many people try to actually hit the tier 6 that's in that location, and almost no one ever connects. He actually did it. That's so far away. And now he's on reload, but he did the damage he needed to. He's totally safe up there for his total reload timer of 33 seconds.
That was beautiful. Wow.
That never happens. It just never happens.
Okay, well, Super Rochi, he's kind of stuck. I mean, the moment he peeps his head out, there's 3 tanks that are focused on him right now.
Yep. Of course, he's still doing his job because it's very difficult to kill him as well, and so he's zoning these tanks out, which is doing a lot for him. And we do see these IS-3s actually rotating now back towards the courtyard. It's almost as if Horsemen wants to win this by elimination rather than capture, because it's going to take them a little while to get up to that corner point. There's already an AMX 5100 and IS-3 in really good position, and the middle ground, that middle road is probably covered.
Faluso up on that castle, that was absolutely wonderfully done. Oh my goodness.
I mean, it's a great early win, but they need to do a lot more than that. They still have a lot of time to work with, but I mean, with these IS-3s and these 5100s, moving through the city, even though it looks small on your mini-map, does take quite a lot of time.
IS-3 wall, again, we see this quite often. They position themselves here, and then now they're going to move out altogether and head over to the east side of the courtyard.
All right, they're moving in.
Oh, Bonsai Attack's going to
storm
have to be careful. He is so close. He's just like right around the corner.
And Taki's just blasting 5100 rounds through there, but he's
not hitting anything.
Yeah, he's not making a dent in these tanks.
The connection is not available.
Okay, here we go.
Service.
Yeah, looks like it. They're actually just going to rush through here, if you can describe IS-3's driving as rushing. And they're going to go for that corner cap.
No, they're going to come around, and yeah, Bonsai Attack, he's going to have to be careful if they decide to turn around here. Yes, they do. Archon does take a damage from Bonsai Attack, but now that they know that he is there, there's 3 of them, though, versus 1. Obviously, Horsemen don't know how many tanks are on that side.
Nipa. Some 6 support fire as well.
And Nipa has joined the fire. Nipa takes a ton of damage, though. That was 700 plus.
This approach is so strange. They're actually going to get a bit into an awkward position
here.
Oh gosh,
yeah, they are surrounded.
And Spencer and Flying Unicorn can't really help because their own tanks are blocking the IS-3, so the 5100 can't do any damage because his own friendly tanks are actually blocking the shots. Look at that, Just Rex is getting burst down here.
Yes, that was... Actually, you know what? It looked like B Gaming knew that they were going to come around that way and decided to just cover. They're flanking them from both sides. And
they kind of broadcast it, right? They just drove by everybody, and then it was no longer a secret that they were going to try to get to the corner cap, and then they just used their defender's advantage to actually get into these streets in a better position.
All right, Bonsai Attack does go down. Nipa on the IS-3. He's just waiting for a reload right now. This seems very haphazard. I can't say this is a very clean game from either of the teams, really.
I feel like Horsemen thought they saw an opportunity that just wasn't there, and they thought they could rush through. I think they were hoping that their move to the south would distract B Gaming, they would lose focus, and then they would be able to push through the center. But as it is right now, it's still 4v3.
They're
only 200 points down, but the problem is they've only got 2 minutes and 40 seconds, so there is the retreat possibility of these tanks, although they are very slow.
As fast as IS-3 can go. Feluso does go down. AMX taking out the other. Gorilla goes down. Now it is a 3v2.
Can Flying Unicorn take out Nipa?
I'm not sure.
Like
not right now. It doesn't seem that way. He does have more rounds than Nipa does, though. He can shoot him one more time before Nipa reloads.
Oh, he misses. Ricochet there off that rock.
And he's got 3 more shots now. He needs to be
He's going to get surrounded. Taki coming from behind.
Wow. He did not see that. And V Gaming takes a sloppy win, but a win nonetheless.
If you look at the mini-map, right, if you're watching that game, you can see the plan is very obvious for Horsemen. Distract them, send them to the west side, then rotate through the middle, try to run through there. They probably got 1 spotter, and then we're going to be there. But they didn't really fall for that. They didn't actually send a lot of tanks to the railroad track. So they had 1 spotter, then everyone else was actually in perfect position still for expecting them to be where they were. Then they got cut off and surrounded, like you said, in some of those narrow choke points. They were trying to get to that corner cap, but they got cut off on both pathways. And then, as they tried to force their tanks down 1 choke point, the rest of the tanks kind of cleaned up and came from behind. And they took some good fights there at the last second with their IS-3s, but then they had an autoloader that was reloading for a long time, and it just went awry there.
You know, and usually we do see this. In the very first game on a new map, people do try some strange tactics because they do want to throw their opponents off guard. So I'm wondering if the second game we're going to see a much more standard play where they bring the IS-3 to that capture point and just like hang out, you know?
I think so.
Yeah?
And, you know, either they're going to slowly push towards the center, use that vision with the tier 6 of the courtyard like we were talking about before, and they kind of push through the city in a faster, more efficient way, the fastest way to get to that corner point, or they could try to go up to the castle with all their tanks. We've seen that every now and then. The AMX 5100 up there was really well done. Feluso's shots were incredible, and that was, I think, part of what they thought they saw was kind of like, wow, we're really pushing them back. We can actually just run right through everything, and we'll be totally fine. They're not going to be able to react in time. And didn't end up being the case. Would love to see Feluso up there again, even if they send most of their tanks up to the north, because he can just continue to give that fire while the rest of the tanks move through. I don't want to see the Waffen. I don't think it's a good choice.
I don't like it. I don't think the Burt is very good for this map either. Though we have seen it played here and we have seen it be successful.
Like if you have someone like Nice from Elong, okay, or Reflection on the tank destroyer, I'm like, oh god, yeah, you can put anyone on Elong. Probably those two, like probably the best at actually taking those important shots. But I look at both these teams and I think too risky. This is like too high stakes. These teams are too even in skill. So.
All right. It looks like B Gaming, we have a player who's going to reboot his computer.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, that's totally fine. Get some better connection there. They are going to keep same players, and they're keeping the same tanks.
Yeah,
and so that tells me, yeah, but what you're saying is you think they're going to play a lot more standard.
I think so. That was a really cool tactic by Horsemen. It's just that they thought they were further ahead than they were, and they tried to rush through. I keep saying rush through the center, but like the right side of the center, you know, the right side of the courtyard, the east side of the courtyard, where an IS-3 is watching both pathways, and then there's an IS-3 and a 5100 on the corner point, then they're able to come around from behind. We saw, I think it was Taki actually come back and just blast out 5100 damage, like all of his rounds, totally uncontested because they didn't know which direction he was coming from. I think they got confused. Sometimes we see a 5100 and the IS-3 on the corner point, but I think, well, I mean, that's pretty common, but I think Horsemen were expecting them to be somewhere else because they expected that those tanks would rotate to the railroad tracks, which just didn't happen. So it was a cool idea. I look at Horsemen's plan and I go, I see the plan, I see like the beginning, the middle, end, like of the story, and I'm like, but do your viewers like really follow along with the story? Because they're kind of, they're not really falling for the story, not believing it.
Well, so far, all 5 games, the defensive side has won.
That's actually a really good point.
Yeah. So far,
could go to tiebreakers.
It could go to tiebreakers. I mean, we'll just have to see how things. I mean, obviously, we're going. What is this?
Game number 7.
Yes, no, it's game number 6,
6.
and B Gaming is on the defense again. So if they win this, and they're on that whole defensive win streak thing, right? So yeah, we'll have to see if they could do it again. We're going into game number 6. Set number 6, B Gaming up 3 games now, Horsemen's 2, and they're on the defense one more time.
Tankless, dead even, as you said. God, that was like the fastest reboot of a computer I've ever experienced. Like, I wish my computer restarted that fast. I was like thinking we're going to have to fill some serious time. Nope.
Nope, he was like, we're going to reboot. Oh, the game's starting. It's like, whoa!
Those Japanese computers are going fast. All right, so again, B Gaming looking to take this lead here. Take that extra defensive win. Take defensive win number 6.
Yep, we can see a couple of Horsemen. They're going to go up towards the castle area. Again, I think that might be Faluso on the 5100. No, it's Spencer, too.
They could actually, this time, once they try to get a lead like they did last time, excuse me, actually commit to the capture point number 1. That could be another, like, mind game thing they do.
Okay, so we see, not Spencer, we have... Lolote and Super Hiroshi in the same spots again, except this time Lolote does make it out, and he's going to zip over to the north side now, utilizing this railroad track. It's interesting because I feel like that, yeah, just like you said, they're expecting something to go on over there in the base capture number 1, but that's not exactly where they are. So Super Hiroshi, this is the same beginning that they had last time around as well.
With the exception of Lolote being a much safer place, free from damage from Faluso. Faluso took 1 shot, doesn't look like it really connected. Spencer's now up here, trying to make sure that no one rushes through there to actually cut them off, because they're all basically connected on the south here. 3 IS-3s down there, trying to push their way through.
Faluso is trying to take out Lolote and Hiroshi right now, but he's not connecting as well as he did last game. And yeah, it's just a very quiet game here. Lolote hiding behind the train depot.
Waiting for that 6th sense to go off. He's got a good angle there as well. Just Rex in a tough spot to actually push any further forward than this. They're going to need more tanks here together to actually force their way through.
Looks like there are. We have none in Archon. They're going to come back and try to give Rex some cover fire.
The key here is to make sure that those 3 tanks don't get behind the depot. That's what Elon was able to do, and then they were able to take a win by quick capture because no one was able to deny their capture, because it's a tough terrain to actually fire on if you're not in position for it.
Lolote does go up. He feels something. His 6th sense didn't go off, but he felt something. Oh, now it is on. And he knows. He knows there's something coming. Something big, probably IS-3s.
Yeah, in this case, you're absolutely right.
And here we go. 2 IS-3s. They're going to cross over these railroad tracks and see if they can capture this point.
I think 3 IS-3s are going to try to get in there.
Sweet. Focus fire on Lolote. Lolote does take a ton of damage, and I think they're just going to try to eliminate him.
They need Just Rex there as well, though. Just Rex is going to have to force his way in. He's actually trying to zone out Banzai attack right now. Super Hiroshi is actually just doing a completely unrelated battle with Gorilla over here, but losing, which is important for later on. But the big focal point, of course, being these IS-3s trying to get to that depot.
They're doing a good job. They're utilizing these the little depot houses and the outhouse. Well, that's the little one. And they're just going to try to push up. There's not much cover around base capture number 1, though.
Feluso actually about to be completed with his reload. 8 seconds to go. He's going to try to take some shots here. Doesn't find anything.
Yeah, so now Lolote does have an AMX 5100 behind him to help him out. Longer range, but nonetheless, it is a 5100.
Yeah.
So the moment none Archon show their face, you know, obviously they're going to be, they can have 5100 shells come straight at them.
Yeah.
They're going to have to be careful there.
Ooh, crazy
Tamati,
shot there.
there's Tamati, yeah.
Feluso, like, oh, that wasn't Feluso. He fired that. I couldn't actually quite see. Oh, it was Gorilla. Never mind. Shooting through the middle.
Very, very smart. They're going to go over to the side of the railroad tracks where Tamati can't see them.
Yeah, and Lolita, I don't think, knows that they're actually coming this way. If he actually moves back for any reason, he's going to get exposed. Okay, now Taki sees. Lolita needs to get out of there.
Those two take a shot at Taki. Lolita now knows, obviously.
I don't think he has anywhere to run because Rex is looking at him as well. And boom, there he goes.
Wow, that was very, very well done. But now None is taking a lot of damage from Tamati and Taki from two sides. Hiroshi does go down. Felusa Hiroshi battle.
Yeah, that's like that side story. Yeah, like it's like what's going on? What's going on over there?
Right, and it looks like Unicorn is going to start this base capture. Archon and None are going to have to go ahead and try to. Ooh, they're going to try to take two.
This is so awkward. Spencer's threatening this capture point. It's so funny to see an AMX 5100 being the one who's hiding in the base capture. They need to get the support over there to him. They need those IS-3s in there. They might actually try to rush in there at the last second. Yeah, they're starting to move in there. Now Rex is in there. They can actually put 4 tanks in there as well. You know, absolutely doable.
Oh, Gorilla, he's going to get sandwiched between Nipa and Banzai attack. Gorilla doesn't know that Nipa's behind him.
He's doing his job, you know. He's buying time. He knows he's going to go down here, but he keeps 2 tanks off his back, or off the back of those IS-3s at base capture point number 1.
Okay, well, everyone, yeah, they're all leaving now. And
I don't know if I agree with this one.
All right, so they're going to leave the 12-ton in that first base capture because it looks like so it looks like base capture number 1 looked like a bigger threat. All the tanks went over that way, but right now we have Spencer still sitting in the second one.
Looks like they want to try to win by elimination, and I think this is such a tough thing to do on this map. They only have 1 minute and 22 seconds left, and there goes None. This is a rough spot. Flying Unicorn is such a bad spot as well. He's going to get blocked here by Archon.
Okay, Archon is going to try to see if he can give cover. 7mm is right behind Rex. They're going to
like, if you look at it,
exchange shots, but
Horsemen is way up in tanks, but they don't have the hit point lead, and eliminating these tanks in 1 minute is going to be so tough. Someone is going to have to deal with Spencer. They're sending that one IS-3 over there to do so.
Someone needs to do something about Spencer. It is 25 seconds left on this base capture. Just Rex and 7mm, they're going to go back and forth. It looks like Rex is going to go down. He had such little HP.
Here comes Nipa.
Spencer, be careful, and the base capture obviously is not.
Denied.
Yeah, he left that circle, and now he's going to die.
Yep, this is just an attempt to win by elimination that totally went wrong. It's so difficult to win this way on this map with all, you know, big, heavy tier 8 tanks, and you've got, you know, such little time to work with all the indecision in the early game. Now Nipa and Tamati should be able to escape, right? Look at that. Tamati's already hiding.
Oh,
and Nipa was way away where Spencer is. No one can get there. Never going to happen.
No, Archon looks like he wants to go in there. Obviously.
It's a bigger issue with Nipa, though, right? Like, no one is anywhere near him. So even if they kill Tamati,
there's 5 seconds left.
Yeah.
B-game defense wins again.
6 for 6. And this is unheard of on this map, actually.
Wow, defense wins again. And so, yeah. Well, now we're switching sides, which means we can tie it up if we continue this streak of defense winning, right?
But it also means B Gaming is 1 win away from victory here. So if they actually pull off the attack and play standard, which I think B Gaming is going to play standard. Horsemen played anything but standard on those 2 games. We saw them approaching the railroad tracks, trying to win by elimination on this map, doing all sorts of crazy things that just simply goes against everything we've come to learn about this map from the top teams, Elong, Karen Tigers. I mean, honestly, even TCSG was trying to capture the attack capture point there.
That's true, yeah.
I mean, this is just like, if you look at this map, like if you open the textbook, like, you know, Himmelsdorf 101, you flip through the attack chapter, you're like, okay,
so
tank in the middle, get vision, slowly push either through the castle or through the center to the corner point, put 1 tier 6, 1 IS-3, try to get a good position with your 5100, capture and win the game. It's really tough for defense.
I mean, maybe because it is a playoff game, right? And they don't want to go with standard textbook because they're scared that obviously the other team's going to know standard textbook, that they're just coming up with these crazy ideas.
I like it. I mean, it's innovative almost what we're seeing here, but it's this idea of like, okay, can this work? Absolutely, this can work. But by the time the game gets to the middle point, they're not able to clean up, and B Gaming knows their game, and they're like, oh, you're going to win by elimination on this map? Yeah, right. I know your tier 6 is the one in the capture point. I'm going to kill it. Then no one's going to be nearby, and you'll never be able to kill our last IS-3. It's never going to happen.
All right. Well, as we go into the next game, we're going to have to see if, again, will Horsemen on defense now be able to do it? Will they be able to go ahead and win this out? I mean, I think it'd be really interesting if everything tied up by defensive wins. Okay, well, looks like B Gaming is changing players again. Nipa is going to go out, and they're going to put in Shimip. Yeah,
Shimip, we see him come in very technical situations. We see him a lot on mines, actually. But it's going to be, again, on Himmelsdorf here, so that should be exciting to see.
Yeah.
A totally new player, again. We haven't seen at all in this playoff match. Horsemen keeping their same lineup, though. They haven't really switched it up.
I noticed that. Horsemen, actually, they usually don't change, actually. Yeah. B Gaming does quite often. Elong does often. And we see Karen Tigers do it every once in a while as well. But
Horsemen, Immortals, not so much.
Not so much.
Yeah.
Not so much.
So we've seen even TCSG switch a lot in the very beginning of the last season. But, yeah, these teams don't switch so much.
I haven't watched them play in so long that I can't.
Ruby One Kenobi, man, in and out.
Oh, they had the cognac wine.
Yeah.
How could I forget cognac wine?
It's been a while. It's been a while.
It has been. It sure has been. And maybe we'll see them again next season, but or they may be in Silver Series next season.
Yeah. Well, if they end up back in gold, one day we'll see them again. It's going to be a long road for them, I think, though. Some of these other silver teams are looking pretty strong. I actually went back and watched some of their games.
Yeah.
Like, pretty good games.
Yeah. I have to agree with that.
I mean, obviously, some teams have to fall out of gold. It's just going to happen that way. But the silver teams that are coming up, I'm pretty excited for that for next season.
Yeah.
Before we get too ahead of ourselves,
oh, gosh, we're already talking about next season. No, Wolf, we're still in this season. We have to talk about now, and the playoffs is now. And again, yeah, I mean, I think this is interesting that they're going to move out players. This is it. This is do or die. If they lose this, they are out.
Yeah. Looks like everyone's in the lobby now. Everybody is ready. Feluso giving the word. It's all up to Bonsai Attack to give the word as well.
I think so, yeah. They're just kind of waiting on it. Choosing out tanks and stuff. Do you think there'll be any tank changes?
Yeah, I think B Gaming is going to play this a little bit differently for the attack.
Well, obviously because they have Shimip now, too. So
I think they could, as much as I hate to say it, I think they put Shimip on the Waffen, most likely.
The Waffen.
I think so, but we'll have to wait and see. You know, so far they're ahead. They're in the lead. Defense has won every game thus far, so we'll see if Horsemen can win it again on the defense.
We're going to have to see. All right, game is ready. Let's get into the next game. Set number 7, guys. B Gaming is up 4 games, Horsemen's 2. If they win this, if B Gaming wins this as attack, they go to play Karen Tigers.
Shimip is on IS-3. You know what that means? He's just going to be a good IS-3 player. But
look at the Horsemen's lineup.
None on the Tank Destroyer and Feluso on the Burt.
What?
We've seen the Burt do well on this map.
I know that, but this is just... What?
Unexpected. Oh, do we have a connection issue? Or are they all just planning together?
They're just planning all together.
I think we've got a connection issue.
We may have a connection issue. We will...
Some people are clearly connected, but not all.
We'll have to figure out what's going on here. Yep, we just got the wave.
Yeah. We got that camera that goes up where you're just like, yep, this is a problem.
There's an issue. But you know what? It's okay. You know, I'm thinking, does this psych them out when they get to a game and there's B Gaming like, we got one more win?
I think it's stressful for like a second until you get the message from the admin and like everyone's like, all right, we are regaming. It's like, oh, okay. As long as you're like, oh, this is like, imagine like Horsemen DC'd and they're like, do they know? Do the admins know? Are they going to give us a loss? Like, this is so important. And then it's like, oh, okay, everything's fine. Okay,
everything's fine. So I think they're trying to figure it out. We haven't gotten any official news yet from the producers or the admins.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes what happens when this occurs is like the people can't leave the game because they're also lagging, so they can't access their menus, and then like we just have to wait for the timer.
We might have to time out, which means we need to fill about 5 minutes and 30 seconds here.
Yeah.
And there's just something wrong right now, and That's what the admins are telling us. So
Yeah.
once we get more information, we will we'll definitely let you know. The team roster, there was an issue with the team roster. They had put in the wrong person. So.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
All right, so they're going to go back into the garage. It looks like, all right, well, here we go. Here's the team roster, so we can go ahead and tell you about that.
Who's your favorite B-game player, actually?
I think I like, oh, wow, Pariah. We haven't seen him in a while. I'm going to go with 7mm.
Me too. I think
Really?
he's the most consistent, one of the most consistent damage dealers on their team. Usually on an IS-3 or a 5100, or every now and then on a 12-ton. Always just going to put out that damage. Never dies early. Never overextends.
Yeah, he's just like one of those players. He's very reliable, right?
Yeah, exactly.
We see him on heavier tanks. And
Second
then on
favorite was
Horsemen,
Bonsai Attack, though. I wanted to mention that briefly.
Okay.
Because he makes some cool plays.
Okay, so on Horsemen, then, who's your favorite player?
Peluso.
That's not fair. He's like the leader, right?
Yeah, he's the leader, and he's usually the core of all movements. Like every time they make a move out where it's like there's a plan where it's like, all right, we gotta have this one tank in this one place, and that's the plan. It's always him. So I like that because it's like he's like, this is my plan, and also I'm the guy who's going to take the biggest risk. It's all going to be on me. So they have to trust him as a leader like really easily, because like when it's like all up to him. If his plan fails, he has to be like, sorry guys, that was a bad plan. Like I screwed it up. But it's like when he does the plan, he makes it work. Like for example, when they were on the attack on Himmelsdorf just before, when he was the one on top of the castle, he made the damage work. Like
True.
he got that kill. He did everything right.
True. All right, looks like one member of Horsemen had disconnected, and so they're going to just rematch since nothing really happened in that game. But going back to the player list, is it just me, or do you think Icy Flying Unicorn is actually female?
Okay, so this is a really good question, because we saw the team photo, right?
Yes, we did see the team photo,
and there was a unicorn in the photo,
and with long hair.
With long hair, and we have seen pictures of a girl who it seems to be like also a Taiwanese World of Tanks caster and personality in Taiwan, so could be related. It's not confirmed, but if they come to the finals, we'll find out for sure, no doubt.
I saw some of their pictures, and there's a girl, but then it could be like a girlfriend or a fan or something. So I'm not sure if she's actually a member.
I think she definitely, the girl that we have seen like with the mask off, definitely does promote. I actually knew her name, but I can't remember it now. She's got an ID as well. And she's like all on their Facebook, does a lot of videos and promotes a lot of stuff in Taiwan. And I think she streams on Twitch as well.
All right, well,
but, I mean, we don't know if that's her or not, because it could just be like she's Icy Flying Unicorn because like that's her secret identity. She doesn't want anyone to know that she's actually playing.
Maybe.
A lot of possibilities, Susie.
We'll have to see. If they make it to Korea, we'll definitely know at that time. But yeah, I just thought that was kind of cool. If it is, then man, kudos to you, girl, for being on a team like this. Because
top 4, we're watching that happen.
Playing with the big boys, I'm all for that.
So we're in game. We're just making sure everyone's connected right now before we start this. That's why I'm looking down at my screen.
I'm sad that we haven't seen Meat Bun.
Yeah, he's been a bit absent, actually. Funny as it is.
Yes.
Same with Paper for B Gaming.
Yeah.
It's been a while. We only saw him like once.
Yeah. All right. Well, it looks like the game is ready now. Everything has been reset. All right. Here we go into the game. Like I said earlier, guys. So 4 wins for B Gaming. 1 more, and they win this series.
Yep. They will advance to face Karen Tiger, if so. Now, as I said before, the leader for Horsemen is definitely Peluso. Again, he's like the playmaker, the plan maker, and he's always the guy who's the center of the plan. He's like, all right, we're doing a Burt build. Also, I'm on the Burt, so don't worry about it, don't stress, because I know how to do this. Just do what I say. He's already taken shots here. Now, the Burt is pretty good at denying the corner cap if you can get into a good position, which is why we've seen on this map before. Bonsai Attack and Super Roshi making a lot of noise here.
Yes, they sure are. They want to make sure that everyone knows that they're coming. And again, this is really strange. B Gaming going towards the railroad track base capture.
Yeah, this is like unheard of. This is really unusual. We really don't see this.
And
I think this is going to catch Horsemen off guard, though.
Yeah, I do like this. Again, by going textbook in a game like this, it just kind of leaves you way open to be read.
Yeah. It's funny because, like, if you were a Horseman coach or if you're a Peluso, for example, wouldn't you think, okay, it's B-Gaming, they're definitely going to play Standard? I would literally say they're definitely going to play Standard. They're not going
No, on a playoff match, I honestly can't say that at all. I don't see that at all.
I would have predicted that they would not be doing this. This shocks me.
Gorilla taking some damage. This is not good. So they know he's there.
They have so many tanks here. They're able to get into a better position much quicker than Horsemen did in the previous game where they were actually doing something similar. Look, they've got 4 tanks already here, so close and moving forward, uncontested.
Gorilla's the only one right now that's in close enough range. There is the Waffen, however. Waffen, you can see none sitting on it. Every time I see Waffen, I think of waffles. And you can, he's just ready, and as is Flying Unicorn, but it might be too far. Super Hiroshi's going to test it out. Gets pretty close to this capture point.
Gorilla is basically just a beacon of like sixth sense at this point. There's no way you can actually contest or do anything until his teammates arrive, but they're kind of zoned out right now. And B Gaming has gained a lot of ground, and even Super Hiroshi is actually going to go challenge Gorilla straight up because he knows he's low.
Yes, he is low, and Gorilla does take a shot, but it's not going to be enough. It looks like Gorilla has to retreat a little bit.
He can't escape.
He can't escape at all. Super Hiroshi, he's up, he's going to shoot, hits him, but no, Gorilla goes down. Super Hiroshi now knows that there is no other threat here. The other tanks can move in and try to capture this base.
This is an insanely good position for gaming. Now they can actually get 3 tanks in there so easily and get behind the depot. There's nothing to deny them. In fact, I'm a bit surprised they're not actually going for it. Yeah, Lolite is here at the front. They could put an IS-3 in front of him and have 3 tanks in there and deny any tanks from coming from support fire because they have their entire lineup, with the exception of Tamati, who's a bit further, or not, excuse me, Tamati, Taki, who's a bit further behind. Bonsai attack getting closer, but they look like they're just going to play this patiently. They do have a ton of time on the clock.
They sure do, and just having Lolote be there, oh, he's moving away from the depot. But he's going to stay in the base circle here, you can see. I see Flying Unicorn just looking for a good shot.
I think the reason why he's driving around like that is to avoid Caruso's bird shots. And I think this might be part of the reason why they actually go for this railroad capture point, because the bird is so strong against the corner cap.
Right. And it's easier to aim over there because you know where the tanks are going to be at that point. But here on the base capture number 1, Flying Unicorn getting surrounded, getting hit by 2 different sides.
So bad.
Unicorn is stuck. Bonsai Attack is going to see if he can finish off this job here. Nope, Hiroshi does instead. This is not good news for Horsemen at all.
The bird has been essentially useless as well, just doing some denting on some of these tanks, but the lead in hit points is insane here for B Gaming. Can now actually force their way.
It's almost double, really.
Yeah.
And they have all of their tanks up still. Archon is going to get focused fire down by 4 different tanks right now, and he'll be down very soon, as is, yep, goodbye, Archon. Oh, goodbye. Oh,
Just
bye,
Rex goes down first. Archon will go down with 1 more shot. Ooh, misses.
Man, he doesn't want to say goodbye, does he?
Nope.
All right, well, anyway, let's go over.
That Waffen doing some serious damage, but...
He did, but it looks like he's
going
to get caught up. Yeah, he's going to get caught. And
Super Hiroshi just has to avoid 1 shot, and it's going to be an easy cleanup here. But he doesn't avoid it.
Wow, that was, whew, okay. Archon finally, goodbye, Archon. I can finally say that. He's gone.
He's gone.
All right, it is now a 6v3.
Oh, I thought 7mm was actually looking down there at Spencer. He was not.
No,
Turret was looking the other way.
The B Gaming is in such a position now that they can actually just kind of go out into the open. Yep, bringing Taki into this base capture. They're going to be able to capture the base or kill off the other members of Horsemen.
Yeah.
I just, B Gaming, first game on attack and is going to win this.
Luso has to be the hero here.
Tamati comes in. Base capture is
It's going to happen. The first win for attack goes to B Gaming. Solid, stellar play.
Yeah, and they win. They take that position. Horsemen played amazingly.
They did.
The first 2 games were really, really good.
I think they prepared the most for that map on
steps,
defense.
yeah, they
played incredibly well. Every move they made was so well done. Also decently played on Himmelsdorf as well, but in that last game there, they just got totally turned around by what B Gaming was doing. They didn't expect it, and then they weren't able to get in position. B Gaming was quick and decisive with their move to the railroad tracks, whereas we saw the Horsemen were actually too careful, and they weren't able to get in position fast enough, and that really came back to bite them. Gorilla going down so early was a big problem as well, because then they were down a big IS-3 that were down one of their biggest and most important tanks, and then they couldn't get into position.
It was the hesitation, like you said, that I think really hurt them. Going over to that base capture, that was Elong's done it, Karen Tiger has done it, and yeah, that very big congratulations to B Gaming for winning that series, and Wow.
Well, they're going to advance to play against Karen Tiger. I can tell you guys the maps already to remind you guys before you go into that. It's going to be Mines and Himmelsdorf, and then Ghost Town will be for tiebreakers.
Sounds good. All right, well, let's take a 10-minute break now then so that both teams can get ready. We'll have everything set up for you guys, and this is it. This is going to be the last playoff match, and whoever wins this gets to go to the finals. So you guys brace yourselves too. Take your 10-minute break, and we will see you very soon.